Palms Casino Resort here in Las Vegas. Top Rank presents the NABF and NABO Lightweight Championship, scheduled for 10 rounds of boxing. Judges at ringside, Tim Cheatham, Max DeLuca, and Steve Weisfeld. All right, fans, here we go. Introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black and orange trims, hailing from Bahia Asuncion, Baja California Sur, Mexico. He weighed in at a trim and ready 133.8 pounds. With a record of 28 wins, 4 losses. He has 15 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the battle-tested southpaw, introducing Carlos Chinito Ornellas. His opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, presented in association with Antonio Leonard Promotions, entering the ring wearing yellow trunks, fighting out of his hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. He weighed in at the lightweight limit of 135 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the professional ranks with a record of 17 wins, no losses, 15 big wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the battle-ready WBC number 7 world rank lightweight, the undefeated Abdullah Mason. And a referee in charge, Raul Cais Jr., now to give instructions.
Fighter chief second, please. Mouthpiece. Protector. You're good. All right, gentlemen, you received the instructions in the dressing room. Know what I expect. Good, clean fight. Ya recibieron las instrucciones con una pelea limpia. Legal punches, golpes legales, here for you. These are high. Here's the legal line. Touch gloves, glove to both of you. Buena suerte los dos.
Southpaw versus Southpaw tonight. It's going to be interesting to see how well he fares against another fellow Southpaw. Although, short notice fight for Ornellas. And I'm going to let y'all know right now, don't blink.
That's what Abdullah Mason does. I asked Ornellas' trainer, Paco Cuesta, what do you know about Abdullah Mason? He says, I know that every guy that steps into the ring with him gets knocked out. And my charge is to not allow Ornellas to be his next stoppage victim. But Abdullah Mason has an act for the dramatic. He loves to steal the show, and that's what he does when he shows up and laces up those gloves. Bernardo Sung alongside Timothy Bradley, the International Boxing Hall of Famer, and Mark Kriegel ringside. Good movement from Ornellas early on.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be defensive first minded. I mean, short notice fight, one, inactivity. You know, haven't fought in a while. It's been some time since he's fought. So he's going to be a little bit careful. You know, first off, it's about what, see, first 10 rounders for, and he knows that. First 10 rounder for Abdullah Mason, so it's about taking him deep. He tried to time him right there with that moving left hand. But that's what Ornellas is doing. He wants to try to take the young man deep into the later rounds. You got to get past and weather the storm early on, as he knows that the young Abdullah Mason is hot in the first few rounds. Good defense right there.
16-month layoff you were mentioning for Carlos Ornellas, but nonetheless, he's looking pretty good here early on.
Yeah, for now.
Against Mason, yes.
Until you make a mistake. It's going to be a left hand. That's what it's going to be. Straight left hand going to do so much damage. Going to do a whole hell lot of damage because Ornellas keeps reaching and lunging with his offense. You see him reacting to the feints already. That's going to allow Abdullah to time him.
You know, Mason turning 21 today. Happy birthday, Abdullah Mason. And Ornellas is sneaky, trying to land that left as Abdullah misses.
Yeah, Abdullah sometimes, he overcommits sometimes, lunges in after that left hand right there, and he looks to close the distance, but Ornellas doing a good job in maintaining his positioning, right? And trying to time him on his way in.
Well, that uppercut just partially blocked by the arm of Abdullah Mason, but you see the ideas that are working in the head of Carlos Ornellas here early on.
And I see that.
Nice left there.
I see that Abdullah feels kind of tight. That's the reason why he shook those arms. Calm down, relax him, you know, right down in front of him, right? Let those hands get some blood to him. Don't cut off the circulation by trapping it along the ropes.
That was the first time I didn't see Abdullah fully in control in the corner. Like, you know, he didn't seem comfortable.
Again, Ornellas has experience in what he's saying. He's seeing Abdullah load up with every shot. See, every shot's a kill shot. That's why you got to be able to change cadence. Look, Ornellas again changing distance right there and made Abdullah reach. Almost caught him out there in space. And again, it could be the fact that he's facing another fellow southpaw, so he's not really used to these angles.
He knows you beat a southpaw with the right hand, and that's what he lands. And then a left hook from Abdullah Mason.
But you see the reaction right here and the experience of Ornellas right there, just buying himself some time, tying up.
And this is now Abdullah going to work downstairs. And that's now a little bit more gun shy as he tries to land the overhand left. And Abdullah listened to his dad and kept his phone.
Abdullah, he's willing to stay still and go in that high guard. You know, he's looking to open up Ornellas. He's looking to catch him with a counter shot in between. That right hook, he's looking for that shot.
Nice uppercut there from Abdullah.
But again, everything hard. Ornellas seeing it coming, right? And he's reacting. He's making those shots miss.
Look, Ornellas took current featherweight champion Rafael Espinosa the distance in Tijuana before he was a champion. So talking about 2020, 2021. So he knows how to be durable in there.
Yeah, and he knows how to stay low as well. Stand low. You know, you can be very elusive. That can be very extremely helpful. You know, guys like Rocky Marciano, you know, you want to know why he had success? He stayed lower than most of his opponents. He had them punch down on him, and he sneaks them over the top. You know, there's good and bad in everything you do inside that ring, but stand low again. You can avoid a lot of shots.
There from Abdullah Mason. He timed it perfectly, and a delayed reaction from Carlos Ornellas.
A smart reaction.
A veteran reaction from Carlos Ornellas. Let's see what Abdullah Mason does here. He's got his opponent in trouble. The battle of southpaws, and Ornellas says, I'm going downstairs. The punch caused a cut on the eyelid, according to referee Raul Caiz Jr.
See what Ornellas is doing is he's trying to fight him. He's trying to fight Abdullah off to buy himself some more time to be able to recover. He need more time. However, I thought that was very smart from Ornellas.
He's been down before against John Gamino, March 2019, William Canonico, September of 2018. And now against the 21-year-old Abdullah Mason, newly minted adult. Can gamble now, do everything he needs to do.
He ain't gonna be gambling.
Ornellas is gambling against another left hand from Abdullah Mason here.
Well, Ornellas, it'd be smarter for Ornellas to not lunge. If he lunges, if he reaches, you know, that's where Abdullah is dangerous.
Nice combination, double jab, and then a straight left from Abdullah Mason. He's in his bag now, Tim.
He's going to have to get in his bag. You know, Ornellas is smart. You know, he's been extremely elusive. He's not cooperating. You see
Abdullah
shaking those arms, feeling a little bit tight. I saw it when he was warming up in the dressing room. He kept shaking his arms as well in the dressing room. Nice uppercut on the inside from Ornellas.
Sit back, no punch. Here we go. Box.
Ornellas doing well to slow down the pace a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a little bit of everything. He's feinting. I mean, you know, you see him changing levels, feinting, again, foot feinting, head feinting. Then, you know, he'll punch with him sometimes. Then he'll bag out, hit his range.
Right, left from Mason, and then Ornellas lands a shot of his own.
Yeah, you know, you could tell that where Abdullah likes to operate, man, is mid-range, bro. He loves mid-range. Even though he got those long arms, mid-range, that's where he's lethal. Yeah, keep your hands up, son. You heard his dad just scream and say, keep that lead hand up, because
you know what?
just
That
like in that last
sequence
fight.
right there, it was the same one that La Fiera caught him and dropped him with. He was completely open, Tim.
Exactly. You know, again, he's going into that Mayweather-like shell, dropping that lead hand on the inside, inviting that backhand of Ornellas. That's what Dad is screaming about. He's saying, keep that hand up. A few fights ago, he was dropped a couple of times with the left hook. That same shot, you see it?
Yeah. Nice left hand from Abdullah Mason here at the end of round number 3. And Ornellas says, come and get it.
You know that means something different, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to keep it clean. I like my job, Tim. All right, the main event fighters are in the house. Mahmoudov in Quebec, Canada. So he's riding a career-high win. And the momentum says Bienello, but the speed, the punch volume, the pedigree may be with the silver medal Olympian for the U.S., Richard Torres Jr. That's the question that we all want answered. Just how good is the next great American? That's our main event tonight. Just 2 fights from now. Nice left uppercut there from Abdullah. And just you see the quick and powerful hands of the fighter out of Cleveland.
Careful not to land behind the head, Abdullah. Careful with that.
Usually those type of combinations, blazing speed and that power that Abdullah has, usually have more effect on his opposition. Ornellas, he in there. He like, come on, bring it. I'm still here, son.
Ooh, straight left.
I can't take that, though. I can't take that. You can't take too many of those. Can't take too many of those straight left hands right there.
One of the losses he had was against Edwin Palomares in Mexico City. He said, I was winded because of the altitude. He's a scuba diver by trade, Tim. He goes and fishes for lobsters, sells seafood.
He better than me. I'm not getting in that water. I don't know. All that water. Man, come on, man. Ooh,
you better timing him now.
No, Abdullah better be careful. He's dropping that lead hand. Ornellas is swinging that thing. Now he's trying to soften him up downstairs, right? And he's going to look to land that shot, that looping left hand over the top. That's what he wants.
And that's the one thing about Abdullah. He hasn't fixed the one flaw that Johan Vasquez was able to exploit 2 fights ago out there, dropping him in November of 2024.
Stop! No.
Everything's a home run. Everything Abdullah does is a home run. You know, you get in there with guys that have really good eyes, right? That can see those punches coming. You can make them miss because he loads up with everything. You know, you got to be able to change your cadence up inside that ring, because then you become too predictable. Swinging every punch is hard.
You know what happens with home run hitters? They strike out a lot. Because it's all or nothing.
Exactly, but when they land, they're balls out of the park.
Nice right to the body from Abdullah Mason. Look, Abdullah has the tools, but maybe he's falling in love with being a finisher.
Don't push his
Nothing
head
wrong
back.
with that, but you got to work your way through it.
Ain't wrong with that, champ.
No, bring it back. You can't
Like a quarterback, right? You got to work your way through the progressions to land the better shot. Oh, that's a nice left hand, Mason. And again, it's the delayed reaction both times that Ornellas has been down.
7, 8, camina para mí, manos para arriba, tienes que protegerte, eh? Here we go, box, 10 segundos.
10 seconds, what will Abdullah do here? To close out round 4, he says, how about that left?
Good defense on the inside. Wow.
What about the heart of Ornellas taking those shots and getting back up?
Bro.
Left hook that he landed. The first one was hard. The second one was perfect.
Because he waited on it.
Yeah.
He was waiting on it.
He got the momentum of Ornellas coming at him, and then it's that double impact.
And then it's the, again, anticipating. How well do you anticipate? How well do you know your opposition? How well can you recognize, patterns? How well can you recognize mistakes of your opposition? So on and so forth.
A 70-48 connect advantage for Abdullah Mason here through the first 4 rounds. So connecting almost 20 punches around. And now Ornellas is taking risks, and that's a dangerous proposition for the fighter out of Rosarito, Mexico.
Well, he's taking risks. He's trying to get in control. He's trying to win some rounds, right? He's down heavy on the cards. Plus, Abdullah now coming out, and he's projecting a different game plan or changing his strategy. And he's trying to invite Ornellas now. Trying to do something a little different. Try to get him up out of there. So let him get desperate. Let him get desperate. He's going to make a mistake, and he's going to make him pay some. That's the strategy that Abdullah is using right now.
Now he's setting it up off of the jab is Abdullah Mason.
I would love to see it more, a little bit more variation too. Again, big shot.
Body work from Ornellas. Good defensive responsibility from Abdullah.
Nice
and now he keeps, the phone up, but that opened the body of Abdullah Mason.
Yeah. Nice little elbow drag too. Use his elbow and pushed him inside and turned the corner. With the roundness, man, from Abdullah.
Oh, Ornellas feigned himself out, and Abdullah just said, "Oh, really?
Yeah, but
You're
that's
just gonna leave your head right there for me?"
That's the uppercut I'm talking about. Ornellas, he stays low, but it makes you available. It makes you available for an uppercut, right?
Yep.
There's good, staying low, but also bad. And Ornellas, you see him leaning over that front knee too, exposing that chin for that uppercut. Good defense.
Trying to get a little more aggressive here in the last 30 seconds of the 5th round. Right uppercut from Ornellas.
Good defense again.
Headbutt. Or as Tim would say, just another Saturday.
10 seconds, stop at the bell. 10 segundos, para la campana.
You're too much, bro.
We're halfway through this fight here at the Palms Resort and Casino. Abdullah Mason
is this one. Now that I think about it, he has focus facing that southpaw, yeah. But not one like this. Yeah. Stand low. Can see his punches coming. Yeah, oh yeah.
Now
look at the movement. I mean, look, he's varying his attack, and he can take a punch.
Mason has a 10 power punch connect advantage over Ornellas at the midway.
And I'll tell you another thing. Those knees, right? If he don't take those knees and he gets hit with another shot, he can get knocked out. But the fact that he took those knees and said, "Oh, it's fine. All right, I'll take the knockdown. That's fine, so I can recover." That's extremely smart, and that's the reason why he's still here.
You know how I was telling you, Ornellas is a scuba diver who fishes for lobster.
Yeah.
Right now, Mason is fishing with those feints.
He's fishing with those feints, right? He's trying to get a reaction, so that way he can make a mistake and then he make a pay, right?
You baby shark.
Exactly. Mason does have a wide stance as well. You see a lot of guys that have punching power. They have a wide base, or at least it seems that way. A little bit far past their shoulders, a little bit past their shoulders. Allows them able to sit down on their shots, have a strong base.
Is that the crowd singing "Happy Birthday" to Abdullah?
Probably is. They just waiting on the ending.
Right eye, blue corner punch.
So punch causes a cut on the right eye of Ornellas, according to the referee.
Yes. Was that from a punch?
Yeah, he called a punch.
Got it.
Of course, our production team, the best in the business, will
know.
find out if it was. Not nice left hook there. And this is Ornellas is in a dangerous place because Mason's coming downhill. He's going downstairs, and that left hook is landing continually on Ornellas, and he takes a knee for the third time this fight.
Too much heat, man. It's a lot of heat.
8, camina para mí, manos para arriba. Box.
Delayed reaction knockdowns from Abdullah Mason, and it's just credit to his persistence and his patience, Tim, and poise in breaking down Ornellas. That is a big shot.
Consistency, too. Consistent with his combinations. Ooh.
Look at the legs of Ornellas. They're not as steady as they once were. And that body shot from Abdullah Mason.
Still dangerous. Ornellas is still, hey, he home run swinging.
Yeah, look at that.
He's fighting for survival right now.
And the toughness of Ornellas is to be commended. And
Yeah,
nice
left hand. I don't like them dead spots for Abdullah. I don't like them, bro. Position, right? Finally land that left hand on the tempo of Ornellas.
Doctor's taking a look at Carlos Ornellas.
And Ornellas, you know, he took another knee. Smart move by Ornellas. But look, the corner needs to just go ahead and just let it. I mean, look, just stop the
referee
fight.
Stopped it.
I mean, come on.
And the doctor actually stopped it. The way he was walking, his body language, Tim, his head was down.
Yeah.
He wasn't attentive to what the...
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout has been stopped at the end of round number 6. Referee Raul Cais Jr. determining the fighter in no condition to continue. He is the winner by way of technical knockout. Tonight, celebrating his 21st birthday, he is now the NABF and NABO lightweight champion, the undefeated Abdullah Mason.
Abdullah Mason, feliz cumpleaños, 21 years old. All right, Mark Kriegel.
All right, fellas. Happy birthday.
Ah, man, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Listen, you just beat a tough, experienced guy. Yeah. What did he teach you?
You know, every fighter has something coming with him. You know, this guy, here you go. Yeah, I felt myself loading up a little bit, you know, trying to get him out of there early, you know, but he was a strong guy. You know, them guys coming up are usually, you know, they got their full strength, their full power, and you still got to be smart, you know, in there and break them down instead of, you know, looking for that perfect shot, which was I was trying to do it today. I was looking for the perfect shot. And, you know, I didn't get that, but I caught him with some good shots in between the fight. You know, we eventually, you know, the ref waved it off.
You caught him with a bunch of good shots. What do you need to work on? You're ranked number 7. You're going to jump higher. What do you need to work on?
There's always room for improvement, but I felt I'd get great. You know, I got him out there in the 5th round, and we on to the next. You know, we'll be back real soon.
Now you're number 7 and rising. What do you want?
I want a shot at the world title as soon as we get there. You know, and we right there. You know, I got these small titles right here, and we're going to go trade these in for the big ones.
They don't look that small to me. Listen, we saw you shaking out your hand tonight. You okay?
I'm all good. Yes, sir.
All right, man. Congratulations. Enjoy your birthday, man. Happy birthday. You deserve it. Fellas,